Okay, welcome to Co-op Couch podcast number 7. This episode, we're going to be talking about betas because there's been a lot of them recently, and we know there's a lot more to come. I'm Russ from ReckMedia, and we're here with Phil
Hey.
and John from Degener8 Gamers.
Oh, I'll fuck that up.
That's right. I'm struggling to say degenerate still, so I'm a bit like, That's fine. So Phil and John, welcome. So, betas, there's been plenty of them. We've played a few. But before we get into betas, what else have we been playing recently? Phil, do you want to start?
Well, something that I kind of picked up again. I'm really trying hard to get back into it. Space Engineers, because I've not really played it since they released Planets. So it's kind of difficult to get back into it because they've just added so much. But for example, I've landed on a planet and then I was kind of running around thinking like, what the fuck do I do now? And then cyber dogs started attacking me, and it's just like, what the fuck are cyber dogs? And so it's like there's so much been added to that game that I really want to get back into it because it just some of the stuff that I've seen coming out of it, like orbital bombardment, like huge kind of space stations. It's such an incredible game. But that and well, we've obviously been playing the crap out of Siege. Well, I won't talk too much about that because that's probably going to be quite a big topic again. And the Uncharted beta over the weekend, which again we'll talk about that. So, on to you, John.
Awesome. Yeah. Other than, like you said, just spanking the shit out of Rainbow Six Siege, I've actually found myself getting back into Star Wars Battlefront. I didn't think it was going to happen so soon, but it just like the bug came back and bit me. I think it was something to do with the free map drops that they've given us and the updates, the sort of patching updates that they put in. To me, the game's just worlds ahead of what it was at launch. I'm not overly at present impressed with the DLC offerings that are coming out with Outer Rim. But I've been assured that the things that we've been told so far aren't the only things that we're going to get. So I'm sort of holding my breath a little bit to see what the DLC is like. But yeah, pretty much just Battlefront and Siege, with a little bit of Disney Infinity Star Wars as well. I think I'm just back on the Star Wars wagon.
Were you ever off the Star Wars wagon?
Yeah, briefly. Yeah, it's normally it's normally like a brief. I normally duck out just to see what the rest of the world's like, and then I just jump back on again.
How happy would you be if the new operators in Siege were Jedi?
Do you know what? I'd be happy if there was more Jedi in Battlefront. To be honest with you. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. I'm back on right back on the gravy train for Star Wars.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean the free update's been pretty good from what I've seen of it so far, and it's definitely got me back into it. I started playing Fallout because it's the game that I sort of vowed to finish 100% and get all the trophies and sort of see it through. Because all of the previous ones I've finished, but I've never really got to that level where you feel like you've really tired the game out. So I've just finished collecting all the bobbleheads. So I'm sort of approaching now the end of this character, and I'm going to start a new character soon. I was just wondering what you guys think would be a good, interesting character to be, and maybe I'll aim for that. Any ideas?
Yeah, Book of Eli.
Ah, yeah. That'd be cool. Just sort of the passive-aggressive melee guy.
Yep, Book of Eli, definitely. You need to be Eli from the Book of Eli. Just Denzel Washington the shit out of Fallout 4.
Interesting.
Yeah, you just have to be blind. Blindfold yourself. Spoilers.
It's okay. I think we're past the point.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, do I say it? And I was like, what? It's fucking ages ago that film came out.
Yeah. But yeah, so I've been playing Fallout 4 again, and had a go on Broforce, and it's something that I do want to play. But if you watch our what is video that we released on the channel, I sort of explain a little bit in that about the frame rate being a bit slow, and it pauses in the middle of action, and it's a little bit broken up compared to like for a game that's aimed at being like a fast-paced, side-scrolling, explosions everywhere sort of game. It's really frustrating to play because it has these pauses every so often. As I say, when those frames start dropping, it's quite irritating. So it's a shame because it looked good, but yeah.
I don't think I'll touch that ever.
Yeah. Like that was my biggest gripe is like every time you release a prisoner, it pauses for like half a second. I was saying to Russ that it's just like it's the frustration when you rubber band in a game.
Yeah, yeah.
It's that frustration, but they've made it that way, and it's like it's supposed to be a really quick kind of running around, all this crazy shit's happening, but it keeps pausing. It's like no, stop.
And you think that's just purely down to how can a frame rate drop on a game like that?
Because of the amount of carnage.
Yeah, there is quite a lot going off on the screen in one go. So you sort of understand. And then when you're playing it over the network as well. So me and Phil, it was worse in multiplayer. So obviously when it's over the network, it sort of has its natural limitations anyway.
I must admit, I'm still waiting for the big game to come out on PS4 through PlayStation Plus. But I know what it's going to be. It'll probably be The Last of Us, and I've already got that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm surprised that there's not been any sort of Uncharted's, or I guess it's still a bit of a moneymaker. But I'm surprised the PS3 games haven't been the Uncharted games.
Well, you guys are really into the Uncharted games like heavily. I've played. I think I played Uncharted 3 for about maybe 2 or 3 hours. I got like a little bit into it. But this whole Nathan Drake collection, you've played it. Is it worth getting it, or is it just worth just playing number 4? I mean, we've talked about this before, but am I going to enjoy this new HD version of number 1, 2, and 3? Is it like, in your opinion?
I'd say so. I mean, I've completed all 3 of them on the PS3. Phil's platinum them all. You know, we've played them a heck of a lot before. I grabbed the Nathan Drake Uncharted collection at Christmas in one of the deals they did for about 25 quid.
3 games, 25 quid is good in itself, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I picked up 3, classic games for 25 quid, and I've been through and got the platinum in 1 and 2 again, and now I'm going to run the 3rd one again, hopefully before May the 10th when 4 comes out.
Probably done you a favour being pushed back.
yeah, give me a bit more time. But no, I definitely recommend. But it's a series. I mean, I'm quite guilty of playing game series in the wrong order or just in random orders.
Yeah.
BioShock.
Yeah, BioShock, because I don't think I've played BioShock in the correct order at all. Like, I've done everything in the wrong order. But it was still fun. Whereas Uncharted, I think you really do have to work your way through them.
Yeah. Is it like time investment? You've got to like say, right, I'm going to play these. Right, I'm really going to hit this up. This like, or can you? What I'm saying is, can you dip in and out of them, or is it similar to The Last of Us where you've got to just nail them?
I'd say it's a bit more dip in and out than The Last of Us, but it's a game. Well, for me, I find that once you've started it, you do just want to sort of finish it. You can pick it up after like 6 months of not playing it, but you probably won't want to. You'll probably want to just get in and play it. Not necessarily because the story is so amazing, but I just find the gameplay and the environment and like just everything about it. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. Like, I think it might be the next. I think I might be the next challenge then. Before I don't know if I can do it before the number 4 comes out, but I might be able to hold off the spoilers and hit it up.
Yeah, I think the biggest struggle you'll have is going from The Last of Us to Uncharted. Like, you might have kind of some certain expectations, but
right,
where like The Last of Us is a very dark, gritty kind of horrible, gruesome sort of thing. Uncharted's a very Indiana Jones kind of light-hearted, comical.
Yeah.
It's
so
very.
It's not all super serious. Then is that what you're saying?
No, it's funny. It's a comedy. It's like a bit of an action film as well. So there's some really crazy set pieces in it that are like mind-blowingly ridiculous, but they're really cool at the same time.
Yeah.
You've sort of just got to play it to really appreciate it. you have to also bear in mind that the first Uncharted's 9 years old now, so it's an old game. Um,
Yeah,
and then obviously as you get through them, you sort of see how they get better technically. But yeah, the first one is graphically, I think it's still impressive to say it's such an old game. Okay, so that brings us nicely on to sort of our discussion with betas. One of the topics we've mentioned is the Uncharted beta. So Phil, what did you make of the Uncharted beta which ran last weekend?
Um, well, it was just team deathmatch, so I'm kind of hoping there's going to be more game modes to it than that. Because one of the biggest things that like we enjoyed with the older games was kind of the just the co-op online. So it's like 2v2 sort of game modes, and you know that to me like I've always enjoyed that sort of thing more because obviously the way we've kind of grown up, we've always done games like Kane and Lynch and Army of Two. Like however shit a lot of people think those games are, we've always enjoyed them more just because it's co-op. And I
Yeah,
feel like that was quite a big thing with Uncharted, is we really enjoyed it just being me and you against like these other two people, and pretty much always winning. There's something
yeah.
about it, we always just seem to do really well.
They did the really cool thing with sort of couch multiplayer, where we could play split screen but both be logged in on our own accounts. So I could play with my characters, Phil could play with his characters and load out, but we would be on the same screen, split screen, if you get me, but logged in as ourselves. I think Resistance 2 did it first, and it was such a refreshing change to like actually be able to play as our own characters, but at the same time, because we found with a lot of games we could do split screen online or some sort of co-op online, but we only one of us would actually be able to be logged in, and therefore the other person wouldn't be able to actually gain any experience and that sort of thing, which was really annoying. So that was cool. I hope they do bring that back because, as you say, it was sort of 2v2v2v2 or something, wasn't it? It's
Yeah,
like four teams of two competing over objectives, which is makes for really fun multiplayer.
but
I think
like that.
for 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 Last of Us, not for Last of Us, for when you were playing like the like on PS3, I think this generation of console has seen the serious a serious up in just the abilities that multiplayers have to offer now. I'm not just talking about Call of Duty because they've been the same like all the way through, apart from the actual player count. But I'm hoping if what you're saying is correct, they can have these massive multiplayer sort of missions that everyone that we're so used to with this current gen. But it sounds like what you had before with the 2v2v2 was quite special. It's like quite close knit and quite a you don't really see what I'm saying. You don't really see that nowadays. And if they can bring that back, that's got to be a surefire winner, especially to people that are returning to the game from other versions of it. You know, hardcore sort of fans.
Ugh, sorry,
You're right.
that was bad timing. But yeah, like as I say, it's just kind of with the way me and Russ have grown up. Like it started out, we play kind of Red Faction and games like that on the PS2, like the co-op games. And when it came to PS3 next gen, we always got really excited about games that would let us play, like we would when we played split screen, but against
Yeah,
people. And like I think Uncharted, I can't remember if you could do it on Uncharted 2. I think I can remember that was quite different, but definitely Uncharted 3, like it let us do that same kind of just us two against those fuckers that were going to like fuck those guys and go down. Like, but yeah, so like as you say, I think that's a really like would be quite a nice thing for games to bring back, is that kind of co-op couch sitting down like with a friend playing against other people online rather than relying on the goddamn party chat.
Yeah. And the other game I can think of that we've done that with, and I know we speak a lot of negative about Call of Duty, but there was that one Christmas where I think Phil bought Black Ops 1, just the first Black Ops game, and that offered split screen online competitive multiplayer, and that was perfect. And we spent pretty much the entire Christmas just playing Black Ops online split screen. And yeah, it's just fun, and when you're sitting next to each other, being able to communicate in that way is awesome. It'd be nice if Siege did something like that. I think that'd be quite a nice touch.
I just don't think there's. I just don't think you have that. I mean, we're digressing a bit now, but I just don't think we have that sort of. Everything that's multiplayer now is on a massive grand scale. I mean, I remember the Splinter Cell game. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but that had like an 8v8, and it was like 8 spies versus eight
Oh,
first-person shooter guys.
Mercs versus Spies, wasn't it?
I really liked that, but it was only small. It
Yeah.
wasn't like it wasn't this huge multiplayer game, and because if it had been big, it wouldn't have worked. But I just don't think we have that anymore.
Mm.
I think it's something that's.
Wasn't it 4v4? It's like even
In fact, it might have even been four before.
I
Yeah.
remember it was really
Yeah.
small, close knit. It's tactical again, though, isn't it? It's all about the tactical games. They always grab me so much more than the kind of just running around shooting everything and everyone.
Yeah, and it's the games that do something different. So obviously, as John sort of mentioned there, the Mercs versus Spies game mode is a team of 4 mercenaries who are stuck in first-person view against 4 spies who are third-person and able to sort of manipulate the environment a lot more. And it's just that blend of sort of genre. Some people are playing it as a first-person shooter, which obviously limits what they can see, and then that actually allows spies to get around and creep up behind them because they're limited to that first-person view. Have you played the new Splinter Cell, John? I can't remember what it's called now. Is it Blacklist or something?
I did, yeah, I completed that. I'm a big Splinter Cell fan.
Yeah.
I think it was a good addition to get the series back on track. But I don't think there's anything else happening with it at the minute. I haven't heard anything for a long time.
No, the only reason I mentioned it is just because obviously they bought that game mode back for that game.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So and like that was it's good fun, good fun. But as you say, we digress. Heading sort of back onto the beta track. You mentioned again, just sort of in that conversation, then you said about how games and multiplayer, especially, are becoming much vaster, bigger sort of environments that essentially need a lot of testing. So we're finding nowadays that every game's coming with the beta or some sort of closed alpha, super secret behind doors, slowly creeping through the stages until it gets released. But do you sort of find that consumers now are aimed as the initial testing base? It seems like they're sort of throwing out a lot of the testing side of things once they've sort of got a version 1 together and just throwing it out for people to use. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
So, say that again, sorry.
So, so I'm just saying, like,
I missed what the actual question was, my bad.
Basically, they sort of what they're doing now is obviously a lot of studios are going through these beta stages where normally in the past they would have had in-house testers do all that and then the game would just come out. Whereas now betas are becoming more and more popular and they're even using it in their marketing. They're getting people to be the testers and they're sort of paying people. A lot of people are paying for the privilege to test the game for them. And do you think that's good or bad?
I think it's from a production point of view, it obviously makes sense. Like, if you can earn money getting people to play your game, why the hell not? But I think it can definitely have consequences. I mean, like, well, we talked about the Division beta a lot last time, but obviously our impressions, like we originally went that first, then they managed to build up all this hype, then we played the beta, and now we're all like, nah, I'm not getting that. And like every time someone's mentioned, like quite a few people at work recently have been like, oh, like Division's out. It's like I can't wait to get it, and I've just instantly just gone, why? Like, have you played it yet? And they're like, no. So I'm instantly like, oh yeah, but it's really not that good. Like they let you down on this, and this. The Dark Zone's crap, blah blah blah. And then like I think some of them are now kind of and ahhing about whether they actually want to get it. And I feel like because of the beta, they've actually really ruined the hype. If there wasn't a beta and they still had all that hype, people would be rushing to buy it. But I think they've actually kind of hit themselves in the stomach a little bit. But as I say, like it's almost hard for the higher ups, like, when you're having the discussions about should we do a beta, should we not? It's like, well, from their point of view, it's just an easy, cheap way of getting, well, I say cheap, they're getting paid. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up with what's it
Early
again?
access.
Early access, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Forget
But I
about
mean,
that then.
as
But
I
either
say,
way,
like,
it's free to get people to test these games for them. But there is also the whole, they need people, like the only way they're ever going to be able to test whether their servers can handle such a huge amount of players is if they get a huge amount of players to play the game.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
There's absolutely no way that they could test for the amount of hundreds of thousands of people that are going to be on the servers at one time.
Yeah.
But it's just, I just think it's cheeky as fuck, basically, that they're just kind of like, so pre-order now and get early access to or get access to the test phase. And I think, well, I've played betas in the past and they've fucking ruined games for me, like Destiny. Like, why the hell would I actually put my money down now on a game that's unfinished based on based on the ability just to play it for a weekend half finished? It just doesn't. It's just become what's done. It is now the what's done.
yeah.
But
I think
I don't think it's right. We should pay for it at all.
Yeah, I think the problem is it's a lot of studios are doing betas now, and there's no clear-cut sort of rule as to how finished the game needs to be. So, I mean, you look at we were saying with the Division, it's they ran their beta, and yeah, they got 6.5 million people playing it, but it was so close to the launch. It was a couple, say, 3 weeks in it or something. There was surely no time in that 3 weeks to drastically make any changes that needed to be made. And it's almost like at that point, surely the beta was purely to get people into the game before the launch, just to sort of get people playing it, and to give people their impressions and to get people talking about it. And so rather than people just talking about, oh yeah, the Division's coming out soon, it was, oh, did you play the Division at the weekend? And and their marketing, people paid for the privilege to get into the closed beta, so they were making money off that and that sort of thing. So for that beta, to me, it seemed almost like a ploy, like they needed to do it. And yes, so they tested and they took stats from that weekend, but really it was far too close to the launch to really know.
Yeah, they haven't changed. They haven't changed anything. Maybe they might have probably a few stability fixes. But again, we're in that sort of buy now, patch later marketing scheme where, as we've seen with Battlefront, any big game really, where they'll release a game, and even if it's just not quite right, and they know it's not quite right, they'll think, well, fuck it, get it out, and we'll just patch it afterwards. We'll tell the people, we'll give them an extra map, or we'll give them an extra backpack, or some cosmetic nothing which makes them feel better. But the betas now, why don't they just be real about it and just call them demos?
I was just about to say that exact same thing. Like, they're just next gen demos, aren't they now?
Absolutely. Except you're paying for them. Demos are always free. In the days of CD based games, like so PlayStation onwards, demos have always been free. They used to give them out with fucking magazines for, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try our games, get hyped about our games. Like, that's how they used to hype things up before the internet was so, like, prominent. Like, that's how it used to be. But now we're paying to play their unfinished game, and it just doesn't work. I don't know. I played the Hitman beta and I enjoyed it because it was an actual level. Whereas when you play the Division beta, you're limited to, like, the beta space. And I don't know. We can sit here and talk about the Division all day long. Same with like Destiny and that as well. I'll tell you what it is. I'm gonna be real about this. I'm gonna be completely honest. Destiny ruined betas for me. Absolutely, 100% ruined betas for me, because I played the alpha. I got hyped because I watched the E3 announcement. They said the alpha's now available. I downloaded the alpha, and then played the beta. And I was hyped about that as well. I think this is going to be amazing. This is just a beta. Look at all the stuff we can do. And then the proper game came out, and I was like, well, I've actually played the core of the game already. or a third of the game already,
Yeah.
and it just there's nothing new, nothing's changed, nothing's different. There's just a little bit more of it, and not that much more of it. So yeah, for me, betas are out the window. I think unless it's a game I really, really want to try, and I don't feel is going to be ruined by playing the beta. I wish I'd never played the Division beta, if I'm going to be honest with you, because I was pretty hyped about that game. And if we just go through the live stream that we did, you can instantly tell that our mood shifted because it just wasn't what the hype was. It just suffered again from Ubi hype.
But then are you not pleased that you got a chance to play it for free and then didn't spend £55 on the full game? Do you see
It's
what
tough
I mean?
it's tough to call, but I kind of got the feeling that ignorance might have been bliss. Like I think I would have probably maybe give it a better go if I'd actually bought the game because I've already invested my money.
Right.
Whereas I've played the beta now, and I know I'm not gonna. I know I'll probably buy the Division when all the DLC's out, all the patches are out. When it's cheap and when I'm sat in game, I don't know what to play, and I see it sat there for 15 quid or whatever second hand. I think I'll get it now. But other than that, that game for me is just not. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah. Well,
because of the beta.
On the flip side, there was the Elder Scrolls beta when me and you played that, Russ. For me, that almost kind of solidified the fact that I wanted that fucking game, because that game had so much hype, and for me, it lived up to that hype in the beta. So then I was like, I'm definitely getting this. I've got to get this. I think
it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
It can literally go one way or another, but I think what makes the beta successful or not, or the game successful or not, is less about the beta and about the actual, how they put that out to you, but more about the marketing they put into it, because the Division has been over marketed, and I'm certain. I think we had the predictions before we started this live stream that you're talking a 7.5 to 8. It's not a 10 out of 10 game. It's never going to be a 10 out of 10 game. It's just it's on the shelf with all the other 7.5 out of 10s.
Yeah. I reckon the earlier a beta is, the better off they are, because at least with the Division, it was, as we keep saying, it's obviously finished. At that point, what other changes are they going to make? They're just not.
Yeah,
so
they're just stress testing the servers. That's what they're all doing.
Who's playing it at that point? They know that is the game. That is more or less the finished product. But if it's a lot earlier on, you can always be a lot more forgiving and kind of think, well, they've still got X amount of months. There could be so much more going on, and just if the gameplay doesn't really live up to expectations, you can still. If the sorry, I've just run with my train of thought. If the marketing, as you say, so the way the Division did it, they kind of marketed, built up the hype, then released a beta of an almost finished product, which just destroyed all that hype. They should really do it the other way around and almost release a beta which is just the first kind of impressions straight away. Look, here's a game. We're still working on it. It's going to be a while in the future, but have a look at this. And then
so
you
they
get
say
a
that.
taste of it, and you're
they say that, but it's never a taste, is it? They're giving you all the core dynamics, which is fine. That's exactly what you want. And then it's when you like with Destiny, they gave us everything, and then you came into the game and you're like, well, what else is new?
Yeah,
I've just
I think they're better off
spanked the beta for hours,
Yeah. But the earlier on it is, that if they show a tiny bit in a beta quite early on, and that's the first kind of taste anyone gets of that game, they're going to be so much more okay, that's kind of cool. They might have a few doubts or whatever, but then after that, you can start throwing out all these building up the hype machine.
Yeah.
And then they've already played the beta, so then they can kind of. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the Division almost did it backwards. I think they really just destroyed all the hype they built up instead of giving it as a taster, then building up the hype, then releasing a game, and you being well, the beta wasn't so bad. I'll give it a go. Blah blah.
But for you to have to pay or getting duped into like pre-ordering, regardless of whether you cancel your pre-order or not. I mean, who knew? Who would have pre-ordered the Division had they known you were getting a free beta trial 2 weeks later? That's just schoolboy tactics, and everyone that pre-ordered this, I guarantee there's. I mean, I'm spitballing now, just bringing numbers to the equation, but I guarantee 40% of the people that pre-ordered went, "Oh, I wouldn't have fucking pre-ordered. I'd have known that. I'd have just waited." And they know that. These big publishers know that.
Yeah.
But I'm not convinced with betas at all. I just think they're the gaming antichrist next to microtransactions.
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation. But so, I mean, Phil, again, you sort of touched upon it then, just mentioning about timings. And another topic, sort of alongside the betas, then is when is a good time to run a beta? It personally, for me, I think Naughty Dog have sort of nailed it with the Uncharted beta. Everything about it, the timing of it. They've still got quite a few weeks until the game's going to come out. They only showed us the multiplayer side of things. They were obviously testing the multiplayer. They didn't particularly give anything away for the single player side of things. All they've been doing with that is leaking out these story trailers and building that up that way. So the way they're approaching the marketing for this game isn't quite Fallout 4 perfect, but it's it's pretty good, and I think they're going about it the right way.
That's Naughty Dog through and through, though, isn't it? They are a well-respected, quality developer, producer. They're a Sony first-party studio, and for a fact. Tell me a Naughty Dog game that's been shit. And we're not just talking about the game itself. We're talking about the marketing, the run-up, the execution, everything that Naughty Dog have done so far has just been above board. It's been honest, in my opinion. And I think that's like you said, the beta's come out at just the right time. They've not just gone fuck maximize profits, just fucking throw it out to them. Like get as many people to buy as possible. They get it out for free. It's not stuck behind a pre-order.
Yeah.
They're just. I think bigger developers need to learn from these. I mean, Naughty Dog is a big developer, but it's not in like the top 10, it might be the top 10, but it's not the top 5 all-time biggest. It's not like EA or Ubisoft or I think if these huge ones took a leaf out of their book, they might figure out how it works. And the thing is, they've gone through all this beta testing. Ubisoft has with the Division, and people still aren't getting on the game. It's launched and there's server issues.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. It's like after that's the whole fucking point.
Exactly.
It failed. Like it just proves that it wasn't a beta. It was a publicity.
Well, it was a beta, but it was just too late. They probably got these 6.5 million people playing, and they got all the stats, and they looked at their servers and thought, crap, we're not quite prepared. But the game's coming.
Remember GTA 5?
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly the same thing happened.
Yeah, I've still not logged on.
I mean, I give a lot of credit to GTA 5. Did you play the beta, John?
Not on GTA 5, no.
The beta was horrendous. Like, if you thought it was bad when you tried to play that game when it released, that was a huge improvement. Like, they were getting...
Couldn't even get on when it released. When GTA 5 Online released, I think I was off it for almost a week because the fucking servers were overloaded.
Yeah.
But,
They've sorted it out now, though.
It was like a ridiculous record that they broke, wasn't it, for the number of people who bought it on release day? Like, it's just for them. I let them off because I don't think there's any way they could ever have tested it well enough before that release day.
No,
I think because of what it is and the sort of community around GTA, I think they created a monster, basically. They created
a proper Frankenstein.
Yeah, they created like a networking nightmare of so many people trying to do the exact same thing at the same time. the world doesn't have the infrastructure yet to support that kind of thing. They created almost an impossible situation, but I think they were from what I remember, fairly transparent about it, and they were saying, okay,
They basically they basically said we haven't got enough server space for you all.
yeah, and it
That's
was.
what they said.
I remember they were quite honest about, by Friday we'll have a new patch out. So if you just
Yeah,
wait till Friday, we'll sort of be rolling through. Not yes, we're investigating, or yes,
soon
fixing.
trademark.
Yeah, it was like they were giving dates of when, like, okay, by this date we're going to have like the next phase of patches out and that sort of thing. Before we get too far away from betas, I want to just sort of tie into a little bit of news from this week. It's to do with Lionhead Studios closing down.
Yeah, heard about this.
Creators of obviously Fable. Back in the day, they created
Black and white.
Black and White.
Yeah.
They're a Microsoft first-party studio, I think, and there was another one this week that closed down as well. So I don't know whether it's a sign of the times or what, but obviously Microsoft they appear to be struggling to support these sort of studios that they're associated with. So it's always sad to see a studio shut down, but especially one here in the UK, because obviously here we're not America. So every time a studio shuts down here, it's quite a big part of UK's gaming influence. So that's a shame. But one thing sort of beta related with that is they were currently running the beta for Fable Legends. I'm not sure how long that beta's been running for, but I think it's been quite a while. And they've said the game's not coming out, but they're going to keep it online till April. So people who have obviously paid into the game or what have you have the beta till April. But at that point, is that not just the game? Is that not? It just seems strange that this beta's been running for a long time. So it's almost a different take on the betas we've discussed so far, where they'll say, okay, the game's available for free for these 48 hours, go. These are obviously people who are playing a version of the game and will be doing up until April. When they stop it, and it seems strange that happens.
I just think, well, for one, for Lionhead to close is especially mid production of one of the, I mean, I'd say is one of Microsoft's biggest franchises. Certainly one of the Xboxes of all Xbox, like Xbox original 360 and what would have been Xbox One. One of the most fun games I've ever had the pleasure to play. If a beta's been out that long, I don't even know. The betas shouldn't be out that long. No. There's something. I think probably what's happened is they've known about this longer than what they've let on, and they're just like, well, just leave it on. But if a game's in its beta phase, it's almost finished. Why don't they just bang this out and recoup the money purely from the production? People will buy it, man. If I had an Xbox, I'd certainly play the Fable games. One of the games I greatly miss from not having an Xbox.
Yeah. It's
a huge shame, in my opinion. Huge shame.
The only other game I can think of that's had a long beta phase was slightly more successful than Fable Legends, and that was Minecraft. Obviously, Minecraft is worth billions, but they ran sort of like an alpha on PC and then a beta for a long time. And it wasn't until it was already sort of a classic that they launched version 1, and it came out as a proper game. At which point the price went up. I think it was like £6 or £7 to buy the beta version of it, and then when the full game came out, it was like 15 quid or something. I can remember Phil telling me to get it before it launched properly. So that it's interesting how when that came out, obviously betas wasn't particularly a known phrase. That wasn't something that people did, and if they did, it wasn't quite as large a scale as it is now. So Mojang, when they launched Minecraft, obviously we're onto something, and I think people are trying to sort of replicate that. But we've got to a point now where the whole use of a beta has just been so warped into a marketing tool that it's lost that initial sort of what it was created as.
More than
It's
that, they created the monster that is early access. That
yes,
dangerous cesspit of just destroyed hopes and dreams. Like, there's so many stories of like these games that started development, they got so much funding, and then it just and it's gone, and so have all your funds. Like,
yeah,
you know,
and it's gone.
but there's definitely been some games that have really suited that kind of thing well. Like Kerbal Space Program's the first one that springs to mind besides Minecraft. I think that's a brilliant game that's come out of early access release. Because even like when they first kind of released the betas for that, there wasn't really much to do other than try and get to the moon with a ship that you built apart. But it was just so much fun. And like now, I don't know if it's out of beta yet. I think it might be. There's just like a whole kind of campaign mode to it, and so much more has been added. But I think it's one of those things where too many indie developers want to get money before they've released anything, so that they can spend time working on it. Then they get all the funding, and then realize that it's actually completely unfeasible to be able to do it. But yeah, that's all because of Minecraft, I think.
Yeah, yeah. They created a monster.
The whole beta sort of infrastructure's changed. Like you said, it's changed from a demo to now a beta. But someone obviously somewhere in one of these big publishers has gone, well, hang on a minute, don't just give it them, like make them pay for it. Like
Well,
we need to test these servers. So how are we going to do that? And then one guy's like, well, we can pay like hundreds of thousands of people to come and do it for us. And they go, oh, they can pay us. Buy now, get early access to the beta, and everyone that's hyped about it's going to go awesome. I'm in.
Yeah.
I was already going to buy the game, so I'll do it now.
yeah.
And then people like us, we play it and we go, well, this is weak.
Yeah, I could just imagine like a big boardroom of execs, like all in their suits, sort of thing, and then like some indie developer walks in with his like flip-flops and shorts, and he's like, "Okay, so I've got my game, and I really want to just sort of put a beta out for a couple of days to stress test it, completely free. I just want people to jump on and play it." And the guy at the head of the table is like, "Or we could charge them to play it," and then all the
Yeah.
suits at the same time are like, "Oh, I like that idea. That's a really good idea."
That's it.
And then like the Indian
Round of applause.
just face palms and walks out. Like you just don't get it. Like I just want people to test or play the game and enjoy it. I don't want necessarily to make money. Yeah.
There's an example here. It's a game called Kingdom Come Deliverance that I heard about the other day, and it's absolutely my kind of game. It's essentially like a medieval simulator, kind of Skyrim meets a realistic environment sort of game. But I heard that there was a beta running for that on PC, so I've literally just looked up to see how you get access to the beta, and sure enough, the beta for Kingdom Come Deliverance is also going on right now. So the only way to get into this is to be a backer of the game's Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah. There you go. And you're not getting any money back from that.
Yeah, exactly.
Come play our game early and pay
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
I think one kind of interesting thing I've just thought of is obviously it's a way of like with the Kickstarter campaigns and whatever, it's a way of getting money before anyone's allowed to review it.
Yes.
I don't really think of it that way because I'm sure there's like kind of clauses where they're not allowed to kind of publicly.
Yeah. Embargoes.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's probably an interesting thing to look into, but I wonder if there's some kind of almost foul play going on a bit to avoid getting a bad name from it. But
If you
getting
look
money
at a beta, I mean, like Destiny was the most pre-ordered game ever. Or up to that point, it was the most. It broke the record for most pre-orders. So that was X amount of people, which we know, like take maybe shave off 25% for the diehard fanboys of the game, and you've got like 75% of people who played the beta, who pre-ordered the game. Sorry, who played the alpha like me, pre-ordered the game so you could play the beta, played the beta, and then was severely fucked off when the proper game came out. Because that's exactly how I was. I don't know if you guys were the same or not, and it was all down to the beta. I wish I'd never played it.
Well,
Yeah,
we
I never played the Destiny beta. Well, no, I
okay.
did actually, but I didn't really play it too much. But then I got the full game and was completely hooked. And I wasn't until I sort of, you know, scrubbed my eyes a little bit and realized what was going on when they wanted like 20 quid for the next two levels. I was like,
Yeah, and that's exactly what it all was as well. It was like 2 levels.
yeah.
The Dark Below was like the worst DLC ever.
I'm glad I didn't buy into it.
Yeah, I literally just got the base game, played it, completed the raid. I really enjoyed doing the raid. That was like really good fun. But yeah,
All
I just
three of
didn't
them
want
or
to.
whatever it was.
I just didn't want to sink all my money into the same game. Like, I had too many other things to play. Okay, so I mean, we've talked a lot about beaters there. I think we've sort of covered the ground where I think a unanimous decision from us is that we're sort of beaters are a good thing, but they have to be done right. They have to be done with the right intentions at the right time, for the right amount of time. They have to give you the right amount. There's a very fine balance for a beta to be A, worth it, and B, ethical, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll just move on to a couple of bits of news. I guess we've sort of covered uh, a couple of the main stories. Obviously, the Division crashed big time on launch, and Lionhead Studios closing down. It's very sad. I've just seen here, just having a quick look, the Humble Bundle at the minute is the Star Wars Humble Bundle 2. Um,
What?
so
John's already bought it.
obviously, I guess you've heard of Humble Bundle, John.
No, this is new
Okay.
to me. I heard Star Wars and my ears pricked or what?
Right, so Humble Bundle, if you Google it, it's basically, is it a charity, Phil, or is it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Well,
a,
it's a bit of everything, isn't it?
yeah, they basically, you pay whatever you want for the games. So they put a bunch of games up and you pay whatever you want for it. So I think the minimum is $1, so like 80p or something. If you pay more than the average of what people are paying, you get the next set of sort of games. And if you pay more than $10, you get a whole bunch of stuff. So at the minute, if you go to humblebundle.com and you go to the Star Wars Humble Bundle,
Is this PC only?
yes, they sometimes do it with like PS4 launch codes and stuff,
Oh, okay.
store codes and that sort of thing. But
They do Android games as well, that sort of
Android,
thing, like
yeah,
iPhone games.
they're quite old games, so you don't necessarily have to have a high-end PC to do it. They don't always do old games, but basically at the minute, if you go to Humble Bundle, go to the Star Wars Humble Bundle, and you pay more than $1, you get Star Wars Rebellion, Star Wars X-Wing Alliance, Star Wars X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds Saga. So for $1, you'll get all four of those games.
Really?
Yeah, and yeah.
I'll be right back.
Here we go. If you pay more than the average, you also get Star Wars X-Wing Special Edition, Star Wars TIE Fighter Special Edition, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic: The Sith Lords, Star
Oh,
Wars
sweet.
Star Wars
Dark
Dark Forces,
Forces.
Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, and Star Wars Battlefront 2.
When you say more than a dollar, you mean like $1.50?
Well, if you pay $1, you get those first four. That second list that I just gave you is if you pay more than the average of what people are spending, which is normally, I think you get all of those if you spend more than $7.96, so just over a fiver.
Really?
If
I
you
would
Oh,
keep
pay,
the
yes,
Dark
yes,
Forces.
$7.95.
if you
Do you know
pay,
what? It's worth it. It's worth it just for Knights of the Old Republic and the Sith Lords.
yeah, if you pay $10, you get all of that from before, and you also get the Star Wars Empire at War Gold Pack and the Lego Star Wars Complete Saga, which $10 for the Lego Star Wars Complete Saga alone is enough. So I'd recommend heading over to Humble Bundle and giving a bit more, and you can send some of your what you spend to charity. So you can, I think if you say like $20, you could give $10 of it to charity. $10 get you the game. So it's always worth doing, and there's some great classics and some fairly recent Star Wars games in there to get you.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up. I think I'm just looking now. It's down. It's all for Star Wars Force to Change charity and UNICEF. So that's some great. That's some good causes right there.
Yeah.
You choose where those funds go as well. So it's between the developers, the charities, and the upkeep of Humble Bundle. But you can literally give 0 to the developers on Humble Bundle and give it all to charity.
Okay.
And I think I don't know if you can for this one, but I think sometimes you can choose which charity you want to send it to and that sort of thing. It's such a brilliant idea.
Yeah. They've sold 107,000 bundles already. So even if all of those were $1 for the 4 basic games, that's $100,000 they've raised. You know,
Well,
for 4 old Star Wars games. So yeah, I mean, Humble Bundle is something definitely worth keeping your eye on, and especially when they do themed things like the Star Wars one at the minute. So
Yeah, sure.
yeah,
Do you know what? I am gonna. As soon as this podcast's over, I'm gonna at least put $1 down because I've got it.
yeah, go for it. I think we're about at time anyway. So, John, do you wanna do your degenerate thing?
Do you want to do your outro? I was about to. Yeah, thank you everyone for watching. It's been Degenerate Gamers weekly videos, live streams pretty much every day. Follow us at Degenerate Gamers on Twitter. It's been an absolute pleasure to do this podcast with ReckMedia. Really enjoy it every time we do it. You guys?
Yeah, Phil, do you want to go?
Yeah, so again, we've got a few videos, well, quite a few now. It surprised me how many we've actually got already on our YouTube channel. So if you want to check that out, check some more of the videos out as well as the podcasts, that'll make me very happy. That's all I've got. So
yeah, we also live stream as well. If you keep an eye out on either our channel or the Degenerate Gamers channel, we tend to collaborate on quite a few things. You can also find us at ReckMedia on Twitter. I'll tweet, quite a lot during the day, keeping you updated with all the latest news and ReckMedia updates. So yeah, make sure to check out ReckMedia and Degenerate Gamers on YouTube. And you've got at ReckMedia and is it at Degenerate Gamers?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, for their Twitter. So do that.
Cool.
Sure
also, one more thing. I'm as of tomorrow, which will be what's the date today? As of tomorrow, the 10th of March, I'm starting a sit down if you're not already, because I know you're going to be shocked. And that's another Star Wars stream where I'm going to be streaming episode 1 of the Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Hold tight for that one.
Epic. All right. Well, make sure to get on with that, and we'll see you in the next video or podcast. Bye.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Bizzle.